Dr. Grottu Orloff here. It's November 9th, 2020. Interesting times we're living in. Now, my wife told me this morning that apparently there are people, warriors, fighting over the timeline right now. She said that if you were to pick up your cell phone last night and say, "Hey Siri, who's the President of the United States?" Siri would answer back, Kamala Harris, however you pronounce it. And now it's saying Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is still the president until January, which not many people realize that, because we have a very uneducated population, unfortunately. It's very clear to anyone that really pays attention and kind of watches things, or just really anyone, that this election was not honest. Now, I don't think many people voted for Biden. I think there were a lot of people that voted against Trump, but I don't think there were many people excited about Biden. But anyway, at this point, according to the media, even though no state has certified their results, he's now the president, or president-elect, rather. So, you would think that all these 70 million or whatever people that voted for Trump, would think that there'd be cities in flame, but that's just apparently not how Republicans work. If Biden had quote unquote lost shit, then I think you would be seeing a lot of destruction and tantrums, and it just seems like Republicans seem to be handling it more intelligently. But I had to turn on some lights. Forgive me for my unprofessionalism. Now, Trump, I've been aware of since I was a kid. I mean, and I'm 55, so he's been on the front of tabloids and People magazine since these magazines, forever. And yeah, he went from one wife to another, and he was always, and I was aware of this guy, and I didn't really think much of him. I just thought his hair was silly, and yeah, he builds a lot of buildings, and he's very, just was one of these celebrities that you don't really care about, like Kim Kardashian. I don't even know who the heck that is. I think it's a daughter or granddaughter of a famous lawyer that represented O.J. Simpson, and she's got like big boobs and an ass, and she's famous for that. Some reality show. I don't even know. But Donald Trump was famous, but so I didn't know much about him. I knew he put out books, and even he had a game. I think there was a game, Donald Trump game you could play, and I didn't know much about him, but I grew to like his sense of humor and his intelligence during the campaign, and it's like everyone that you hated, the media, all the assholes, all seemed to hate him. So even though, yeah, he was obnoxious in many ways, it's like if so many of your enemies hate this guy, then maybe he's on the right side. Even though I knew he wasn't morally pure necessarily and all that, I thought, well, then the debates he had with the other Republicans and then against Hillary Clinton were hilarious. And I've been a fan of his during his presidency. I mean, I guess you can figure that out by watching these videos. But I'm not screaming and doing TikTok videos. You better fix this. I'm having a nervous breakdown. That they did back in 2016. And so, at this stage, there's a bunch of lawsuits that were being filed today about all these dead people voting. And really, honestly, my first suspicion when this, like, they tried to impeach Trump because he was trying to get to the bottom of what had been going on with Biden and his son in their corruption while he was vice president with Ukraine. He had his son go in as a bag man, and even though he knew nothing about the oil industry, he got in with this Ukrainian oil company and was getting millions and millions of dollars from them. And then when the Ukrainian government started investigating this very corrupt oil company, Biden said, "You're not getting that $1 billion that the United States had promised unless you fire that prosecutor that's investigating this oil company." And they said, "You can't do that. You're not the president." He says, "Really? Watch me. I'm leaving in 6 hours. You better get that guy fired." He said this on camera. And so they fired him. And he's like, "Ha ha ha, son of a bitch, I'm sure am powerful." He says this to the whole crowd. So he's admitting that he was using his influence. And so when Trump gets elected and talks to the new president of the Ukraine, a young guy that's there to root out corruption, they said, "Well, Trump's threatening this guy, and he's looking into his future opponent for president, and so we've got to impeach the guy." And then it turns out that Trump had recorded the whole call, and it was just a natural suspicion what was going on. Anyway, so they try to impeach him. The impeachment fails, and almost within hours of the impeachment failing, there's a virus coming from a lab that where Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates all had financial ties to this lab, and it escapes from a lab. Oh no, it was someone actually eating a bat. No wait, it came from a lab in there was this big lab in this town of Wuhan. And then if any of the Chinese tried to leave Wuhan and get into the rest of China, well, they would kill them or they would not let them leave. But you could leave the country, but you can't leave and infect the rest of China. So the people spread out, and Trump stopped travel from China pretty quickly. And then he was insulted by Biden. He said, "You're xenophobic, you're racist, not letting Chinese come over." Now, so all of a sudden we have to wear these masks, and it's this big, everyone's gonna die scenario. But it's like we've got to use paper mail-in votes because if people go to vote, they're gonna get infected. And they pushed it and pushed it. We've got to have mail-in votes, even though obviously they're very susceptible to. And you don't have to sign them. You don't have to do. Yeah. So apparently that's where the problem is. Anyway, this is probably going to go to the Supreme Court. Hope we'll see what happens. Either Trump will become president if the Supreme Court realizes that there's that. Because honestly, how could Biden have had more votes than any other president ever? John F. Kennedy, all the presidents that you imagine. I know there's more people now, but was he really that popular that many people went out? Or a lot of dead people rising from the graves to vote, and a lot of people voting 30, 40, 100 times. It'll be figured out, hopefully. Now, if they take this away after he's already come out and given his victory speech Saturday, well, there's going to be riots in cities. It's going to be worse than anything you could imagine. And Trump's not going to really be able to do anything during his presidency because we're going to have a divided nation. But in all honesty, Biden's not going to, if all that does not work and Biden's our president the next 4 years, he's going to be able to do a lot of horrible things. He's not going to be able to do everything because they still have a Republican Senate that can stop him. But he is his son. What he would do because he said, we're only going to tax people that make over $400,000. You have my word on that. And he says, I don't know about those people that make more than $400,000. I've never made more than $400,000 in a year. I know, So and that's not true, but it's all off the records, because what would happen is the Chinese government would give millions or billions of dollars. Russia, the wife of the mayor of Russia, would give millions to his son Hunter. The Ukraine would give millions to him, and then Hunter would disseminate the money throughout the whole family. They would all get a paycheck from Hunter, and then he'd give 10% or 40% or whatever it is to the big guy, his dad. And then what he would do is, his real role, even though he was a lawyer, he didn't really have, he's just mainly out there smoking crack and having more, being Energizer Bunny, James Bond, screwing everything that has two legs, all on video, which you can see on Parler, but most of the YouTube, all the social media will not allow links to that. So most people weren't aware of it and voted without knowing of this. Anyway, so Hunter Biden would arrange meetings with his father, who was vice president, and before that an influential senator. But when he became vice president, that's when they really raked in the money. So you wonder why any politician comes in, they don't make enough to be having all these houses and being zillionaires when they leave office. They make it through corruption. Donald Trump was refreshing because he came in already a billionaire. He wasn't beholden to anyone. He wasn't going to become corrupt through that in that way. So, it's a weird situation. People aren't really aware of who they're voting for. They hear that Donald Trump is racist, and they hear that Donald Trump, they just hear what they're told on the radio or their friends tell them. They say, well, he's a bad man, and none of that's true. You've got to pay attention to the world. But right now, if Trump gets elected, bad things will be held back for 4 years, but I don't know how much will get done. But maybe it will. But if Biden gets in, which it's very possibly could, then gas prices are going to go up. You're going to be taxed more. Chinese are going to own more and more of our country. We're going to probably go right into a lockdown, and your favorite comic book store is probably going to close back down. Although I don't know really. That's what he's talking about. Right now, he's talking about wearing the mask anytime you're outdoors, even when you're indoors. I'm hearing that now. But actually, I predicted that the virus would go away after Election Day, and already this morning CNN and MSNBC, the ultra-liberal networks, they used to have a little ticker in the corner of the screen where they've had deaths from the virus, and it's disappeared. It's like now they're showing how the stock market's going up, which they're more than happy to take credit for, even though the stock market's going up because there was an announcement that that Pfizer, I believe, has a vaccine for the virus that's 90% effective, and within a month 1 month more testing, it'll be ready. And they want to take credit for that, I'm sure. But they were saying before the election that any virus that came up, developed during Trump's presidency, it has to be, they're not going to trust it because, or take it, So, all right, so all these politicians are corrupt, and I don't know that all of them are, a lot of them are. But this is a really corrupt one. And Kamala Harris, if you've ever met or worked for someone that acted or talked like Kamala Harris, you know what a evil, stone cold bitch. I just see it, and I've known people like that, and if she gets in power, which is very possible she could, because Biden's like a walking cadaver, and it would seem natural, and she's a communist. If she gets in with AOC, who's already talking about making a list of people that supported Trump, and they're going to have to be held accountable. So, then you're not going to be able to get positions in certain jobs, or you're not going to be welcome in polite society, the way it was worded, I think, her tweet. And other people are agreeing with her. Yeah, we've got to get screenshots of all these Trump supporters. This is complete Nazism. And if AOC and her cronies latch on to Kamala Harris, which is very, very possible, very likely, you may not like the country. It may be kind of dangerous to live. You may need to move out to the Ozarks or something for safety. But I think people will realize, if we do have to go through 4 years of Biden, I think people are going to hopefully become smarter in the next election. People won't make this mistake. It may be that people have become so complacent and stupid that they need to suffer a while to realize the freedom that they have. Oh, and contact tracing. So you say, oh, I'm going to go into the Kroger or the Aldi to pick up some groceries, and then people show up at your door and they say, you're now under basically house arrest because you were in a supermarket and there was a COVID person in that supermarket at 10:15 on Saturday morning, and you were in there, so you were possibly exposed to it. So that's how that contact tracing, because your cell phone tells exactly where you're at. It triangulates where you are, satellites and everything. So you're going to probably need to, if you're going to go shopping, you probably want to leave that cell phone at home, but then you need the cell phone for safety, right? Even though I grew up at a time, well, when I was a kid, you had car trouble or something, you had to walk and find a payphone. There are no more payphones, so you really do need the cell phone for safety. I don't know, it's a mess, but you say, well, Grottu, look at your shelves here. Well, you love the Munsters, right? And look at all these Charles Addams books. And you love the Addams family, right? You collect all this Munsters, Addams family stuff. Your entire life, Grottu, you've worshipped the Addams family and the Munsters, right? Look, this is where the Addams family came from. This artist, Charles Addams, that did this comic strip for the New Yorker, right? And this was going 20 years before the Addams family premiered on, was it ABC? I think it was ABC, and I think the Munsters was CBS. I could be wrong. I think I'm right. Yeah, I'm right. Even though I wasn't born then. I mean, I was born in 65. It was on the air when I was born. But anyway, the Addams family they called them the Addams family because Charles Addams, they just named the family after the artist. They didn't have names. They were just little one-panel gags with this weird, morbid family, kind of based on the movie The Old Dark House. Boris Karloff. Oh, this is a cool book called Dear Dead Days by Charles Addams. And it's just his collection, because he collected weird stuff. He was like a real Gomez Addams in real life. And it's just pictures of freaks and weird Victorian houses. It's just a picture book, just of morbid stuff. If you're one of these goth people, this book, Dear Dead Days, it's just nothing but weird pictures collected by Charles Addams. And this is how the family originally looked, right? Okay, so I got a point with this. So you say, Grottu, you like weird families, and, well, Biden sure does have a weird family. You should like the Biden family. You should love them as a first family, because they're just as weird as the Munsters and the Addams family. Well, let me speak metaphorically. I don't have my music going. Oh, did you see my video earlier? I've got all these. I did a little Christmas tribute. All right, so these you can get these figures at Big Lots, right? So you take this elf, and then you kind of put them together. Yeah. I'm sure I'm not the first person to discover that. Absolutely not. Okay, so anyway, I'm actually starting to get this main comic book room a little bit more in order. Boy, am I fat. God damn it. I lost a couple of pounds, but this COVID, which goddamn, if it was man-made in a lab just to help the Democrat Party, and I gained this, I'm up to, I've never weighed this much in my life. This is the Ultra Q theme, but this also was the theme to the Hypnotic Eye, a television show I worked with Joe Riley on, which is available all the fuck over Roku, because it's kind of public domain, and all the stuff in it is, some of it's copywritten, but it's just, anyway, people have whole channels on Roku devoted to the Hypnotic Eye. You can look it up. And here, I do a little Donny Osmond puppet, and you can see this room back in the 1990s in that some of those Hypnotic Eye videos. Episode 2 is the one episode 2 is the one I edited together with the help of Joe Riley. That was all my video stuff in episode 2. But let's ask the crystal ball. Crystal ball, will the next president be Donald Trump, or will it be Joseph Biden? Come on, talk. Crystal ball, speak to us. Maybe the batteries may be dead. I haven't used this in it's so old. It's turning, the plastic's turning. Crystal ball, who will be the next president? Crystal ball, will Donald Trump reign? She said yes, no doubt. Just to be clear, will Donald Trump remain president? Huh? I think she was starting to say not likely. She's getting pissed. Will Joseph Biden be the next president? Will Joseph Biden be the next president? Of course you can. Will Joseph Biden be the next president?
What do you think?
What do I think? What do you think? Will Joseph Biden be the next president?
No way.
She says no way. So that's how you do it with that and the 8-ball. You just keep asking it until it gives you the answer you want to hear. That's what Republicans do. They just keep pressing the buttons on a crystal ball until it says the answer they want to hear. Democrats go out and burn cities and loot Kmarts. So, Grottu, you like weird families. Yes, I do. Joseph Biden has a weird family. Well, let me put this in perspective. Can I zoom in? Oh my gosh. Apparently I can't. All right. Herman Munster was 290 years old. No, I'm sorry, he was 230 years old. 220. Take 2. Herman Munster was a young man of 229 years. He decided to run for Senate. And he was a Democrat running up against a really popular Republican senator. And now you have to be 30 to be a senator. But he knew that if he ran, the inauguration day would be right after he turned 30, 230. All right, so Herman Munster has a campaign manager that's helping him out, helping him become the young senator, right, of his state, Transylvania, 51st state of the United States. Now, this campaign manager shows up at Herman Munster's house. Now, at the time, Herman Munster was married to his first wife, Phoebe, long before Lily. And Herman Munster and Phoebe had 3 children, 2 boys and a young infant daughter. And then the campaign manager comes over to hang out and have dinner or something. He brings his wife along. Well, Herman Munster sees his campaign manager's wife, and her name is Lily. And he just falls head and over heels in love with Lily. He starts having an affair with Lily, who's not his wife. Phoebe is his first wife. In fact, you can see Phoebe. There's a Munster's pilot that's a little 10-minute color pilot. You can see Phoebe in it. Look and see if I'm not right. All right, well, they have an affair for a while. I'm not even saying anything funny, for God's sake. Phoebe goes out Christmas shopping with her 3 children. She runs a stop sign, either out of negligence or maybe someone was tinkering with the brakes. Who knows? But she's hit by another car. It kills her, and it kills her infant daughter. The 2 boys, the young boys, are in the hospital. They're hospitalized, seriously injured. Herman Munster has just been elected senator, and he hears that his wife is dead and his daughter, and he would talk about this incident many times later when he was running for president. And a lot of times he'd talk about this driver that drank his lunch instead of ate his lunch, slammed into his wife. Well, the guy wasn't drunk. His wife had actually ran a light, and so that guy that ran into the car has long since passed away. But the family didn't like Herman up there giving speeches saying that their grandfather, or whatever, had been this drunk driver, and so Herman Munster said, "I'm sorry, I know that was hurtful," but he kept doing it. He kept using that in speeches so he could talk about, make a point against, people driving drunk and all that. Well, anyway, now, and the husband of Lily, the first campaign manager, has come out and said that he had found out his wife had been cheating with Herman while they were still married. In fact, one time, he was going to go meet Bruce Springsteen, wanted to bring his wife along, and she says, "No, I've got to go babysit Herman's kids." So he knew he was. There's another time, a guy came. This guy that was married to Lily, he owned a bar, and a guy came into his bar and said, "Hey, my car's been hit. Your wife's car's hit my car. I need the payment." And he said, "Really?" And she said, "Well, your wife wasn't driving, but it was your wife's car. It was Herman Munster driving." So he realized, why is Herman Munster driving my wife's car? And he really started clicking in his head that Herman Munster was cheating on his wife, Lily. And anyway, so now Herman Munster's first wife, Phoebe, is dead and gone. Herman Munster marries Lily. So now there's Herman Munster, Lily, and 2 children. There's Eddie, and there's, I believe his name was Fido. There's Eddie and Fido, 2 boys. The young baby daughter was killed in the car crash. So, he remained senator for decades. And when he remained senator for decades. But now we cut forward to the 2000s. Herman Munster becomes Vice President of the United States. Now, Herman Munster was never a very smart senator, but he was bribable. And people knew they had a lot on him because he was just this kind of creepy guy that was always real touchy with women. He liked to sniff the hair of little girls and touch them. And he said, well, he knew he was missing his baby daughter that died, so maybe that's why he was so touchy with the. But he was a creepy guy. Everyone knew he was creepy. People put whole collections together of videos showing how creepy Herman Munster was. Well, Herman Munster is now vice president. And now he's dealing with foreign powers. These foreign powers, he can do a lot for them as vice president. But what he does is he takes... and by the way, his two sons, Eddie and Fido, he has them become lawyers, and then they go into the military, because that combination can get them into politics and make them successors to him. Well, one of them, Wolfgang, goes into, becomes a lawyer, then goes over and serves in the military, and comes back, becomes, I don't know, a governor or something, but he winds up passing away. And that was the son he had most confidence in. The other son, Eddie, is kind of this, he's a lawyer, and he goes into the military, but they kick him out because he's like on cocaine. And so he's a vice president at the time. They have to kick out the vice president's son because he failed drug test. Well, he's not just doing elegant rich man drugs, he's smoking crack, Eddie. And he's filming himself having sex with women all over the place. Well, when Fido, the favored brother, dies, well, Eddie consoles the widow and starts an affair with his brother's wife. So yeah, it is a weird family. And then and walks around naked all the time, and does video chats with his niece, the daughter of the woman he's having an affair with. And there may actually be videos that show Eddie with, it's just so creepy, with both of them. Can you imagine your brother dies and you start an affair with your brother's wife? They don't talk about this a lot, but this is the case with Herman Munster, you know. So anyway, Eddie just gets all this money from these foreign powers and is distributing it to the family, and then channeling a cut to his dad, Herman, who's vice president of the United States. Well, cuts a few years, then you're no longer, Herman Munster, you know, went on to become, I don't know what he did after. He was no longer vice president, but one day he turned on the TV and saw there was all this stuff going on in Charlottesville, and there were these people with torches that were actors that showed up with torches to pretend to be, I don't know, they didn't really, they seemed a little suspicious. It was basically a big thing. They were going to take down a statue of Robert E. Lee. And all these people came to protest that didn't really look like Nazis. They were acting like Nazis, but whether they really were, some of them maybe. Some of them just didn't want to see a statue of Robert E. Lee taken down. So Trump said there were good people on both sides, and there were good people on both sides, and I mean, there were bad people on both sides. Who the fuck knows? But they've been holding that against him. So Herman Munster said, man, this guy's racist. I know I've got to run for president in 4 years and beat this racist guy, Donald Trump. So Herman Munster runs, and It looks like Herman Munster may have won. We'll have to see. But honestly, there's something weird going on there. There's like a little, I don't know. Who knows? It's that's how I see things. I see things that we're being deceived by the media. We're being deceived by a lot of people. But what will happen? Who knows? And I don't mean to insult Herman Munster with that analogy, but even the Munsters, they don't sleep with family members. They don't smoke crack. It's so you're not going to win me over saying Biden's family's so weird. Why don't you love them? Oh, they're so cute. I was going to show you something here. What was I going to show you? It was right here. Well, let me show you more of Dear Dead Days. Yeah. It says, Dear Dead Days is Charles Adams' outrageous assault on nostalgia. No one could have killed it more effectively or more hilariously. So this book came out. There's a paperback version of this too, I've seen. It just, this is his version of nostalgia. So he's got, I guess it's divided into different sections. Yeah, you gotta find this book. I think I must have found it at Half Price Books at some point. I bet you didn't know all that stuff about Hunter Biden, did you? What happened is, Hunter Biden liked to videotape himself doing Eddie Munster liked to videotape himself with all these women and even put stuff up on Pornhub. And he would take close-ups of his schlong erect, and then he put like an M&M spaced every inch along his phallus to show how big he was. And he would, what else did he do in there? Because I've seen all of these. Because on Parler, there's a Parler website, and it's where you can post and communicate with people like Twitter or Facebook, kind of, but they don't censor anything, and it's where all the conservative people go because all the other social media block them. And so that's where you can see all of these videos that are really coming from the people fighting against the Communist Party. And see what happened is Hunter became entrenched with the Communist Party, and that runs China, getting all this money from them. And so therefore that taints all the way up to his father. So that's a little bit, and you've got to realize that China owns a lot of the United States now. It owns AMC. Like right now, AMC is running Goldfinger every day, because they don't have any new movies to play. Not many movies playing in the movie theaters, so we're thinking of we could go see Goldfinger. Then my wife reminds me, remember AMC is owned by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Can you imagine? This one is like the prototypical Addams Family house. Yeah, there's a lot of creepiness in the old photography. What they used to do when photography was first invented, I'm not going to show you these pictures, but you can probably find them online if you're wanting to get sick a little bit. They used to, when a relative passed away, and a lot of times you had no photographs of this person. It's like you wanted to remember them, so they would take a picture of them after they were dead, but they would try to fake it to make it look like it's they're alive. So, you'd have a picture of this woman with just such sad eyes, and she's holding a baby, but it's the baby's not alive, but they're trying to make it look like this picture was taken while the baby was still alive so they can put it up on the mantle above the fireplace. And sometimes they would stage it where the guy is like reading a book, but it's like they prop the corpse up with the book. Or sometimes I've even seen family portraits where everyone's standing and they got this girl with her arm up on the mantle of the fireplace, and they got it kind of, I think, nailed there so that she's standing up, but then one foot of the corpse is kind of like up in the air because rigor mortis is setting in, but they're trying to make it look like the person's standing and they're still alive. Creepy. These photos are called memento mori photos, and they're horrible, but you can see them online. Memento mori, M-O-R-I. If you're so inclined to look up that stuff, Wally Wood. You can get this collection for real cheap of artwork for that Wally Wood did for Mad. One of the things that influenced me greatly as a kid was this parody of Superman, Super Duper Man. It's just so much great stuff. You can find this everywhere. All your finer stores carry this. Actually, yeah, Wally Wood is a great artist. You all know that. People have known that for generations. Oh, here's another book. This used to be everywhere. The Marvel Comics art of Wallace Wood. Yeah, it's hardcover. Yeah, man. $7.95, but it looks like they're selling it for $3. It doesn't get any better than this. Of course, Wally Wood is the guy, as you know, that came up with Daredevil's red suit. There he is. He was living with. He was a World War II veteran. He was living with a lot of pain, and he wound up committing suicide with a shotgun. But his artwork is just filled with joy and wonder, and he was just kind of had a rough life. Isn't that great? It just reprints. It reprints like sword and sorcery kind of stuff. I don't think. Well, do they reprint a Daredevil story? No. They reprint it's all sword and sorcery kind of stuff, but except for a Doctor Doom story that he did. It's not all of his. Boy, that would be a great idea to put together all of Wally Wood's Marvel art in one thick book. But see, this is kind of a slim book. This is kind of the way a lot of British. I don't know if this is British. It's very possible. I don't know what Thumbtack Books is, but Britain they would put together this hardcover. This is a great book, The Golden Age of Comic Fandom. It's $11.95. Bill Shelley. I don't know what it costs now. This is, I don't remember when this came out, but this is it talks about what it was like for comic fans back before there was YouTube. How did they communicate with each other? Well, they had to do these mimeograph fanzines and conventions, and they had to correspond through letters. Look at these costumes that from the old days.
It's a boy. It's a doll. That's my baby.
And you know, say, well, what does it matter if Hunter Biden and Joe Biden are sexually promiscuous? They all are. FDR, even though he couldn't walk, was having an affair, and his wife was a lesbian. And what about John F. Kennedy and all his affairs with Marilyn Monroe, and even one of the mob bosses mall and all these weird, yeah, that's true. I think it's horrible. And even Trump, I think he was, I don't know if he's married yet to Melania when he probably did have that one night stand with that porn Stormy Daniels. That probably did happen, in all honesty. Well, I think John F. Kennedy is still a great man, but it's a major failing for if you can't be faithful to your husband or wife, then how can you trust someone like that? LBJ had affairs, or I kind of don't think Nixon did. That's the thing, when you see all the media lying every day, you start wondering, well, I wonder if they were lying about Nixon. Maybe Nixon was a good guy. You start doubting everything. You realize, there are a lot of communists. Was McCarthy right? Or did McCarthy just go a little bit too far? But really, Ed Hardy was right. I don't know. Honestly, kids for the last several generations, it started when I was in school, started to being taught that the United States is just a lousy, horrible country. When I was in elementary school, Christopher Columbus was still a great guy. And I remember going back and substitute teaching right after I finished one of my times in college, substitute teaching for a while, and I've got to read this book about Christopher Columbus to these third graders. It's like, well, he's the worst man in the history. What? When did this happen? Since I was in school, he changed. He's now a horrible, horrible man. What else do I have here on this bookshelf? Oh, look at this. The Vampirella Special. It's a little soft cover. I don't see this very often. Oh, and all the artwork. Look at this. All the artwork's in color. It's all color Vampirella art. It's Jose Gonzalez, Pepe Gonzalez. Did you watch that documentary? I don't know how many of you. Some of you have been I haven't put out a video in several days, and some of you guys are telling me you're going back and watching my older videos, and one of those videos, I'm telling you, on YouTube, you can watch. It's like a documentary that lasts 6-7 hours. It just keeps going and going about Jose Gonzalez, the guy that's the main Vampirella artist. Oh, there were some really nice things said about me last night. I tuned in to Metarog's channel, and he was unboxing some stuff I think he'd gotten from Man Cave Comics, and they said really nice things about me, and that was cool. Maybe people won't say such nice things about me when I get all political. I think I'm going to be done. I vomited it out of my system. There'll be no more politics. If Trump somehow pulls this out of the Supreme Court, maybe I'll be cheering for a little bit. But I'm not going to do more politics. Besides, I don't want to get on AOC's list, be put in a concentration camp, which isn't really even that funny because it's possible. Germany was a great country, got taken over by Hitler. They didn't ever think that would happen. They were smart people. And somehow that frickin' happened. What else do I have that's fascinating for you? How about the Babysitter's Guide for Dennis the Menace? Price $1.50. That was a lot of money back then. Ooh, look at that. This is to certify that blank has read Dennis the Menace Babysitter's Guide and is thus well informed in all the tricks and wiles of youngsters and fully qualified to cope with male and female infants up to 18 years of age. The bearer is reasonably sane, sound of sound of wind and limb. Does not eat or drink much, and really doesn't have to babysit, just likes children. And Dennis, it's got actual Dennis the Menace's autograph on it. So you write your name in there, and you're certified by Dennis the Menace to be an okay babysitter. This was just probably a gift to girls that were babysitters. You know, it was like a little fun gift for girls back in the early 60s. But I've always been a Dennis the Menace fan. Let's see, is there anything else here that's fascinating? Oh. This is British. It's Captain America Collector's Edition. That's what I was talking about, these British editions that just on really nice, high quality paper. This is all the like the Stranko Captain America stuff. Yeah, just nice edition to have. This shit is not very expensive, or at least didn't used to be. This is the stuff you get super cheap. I have no idea who this is. Oh yeah, maybe I do. It's on the back. Where did my magnifying glass go? I sometimes find these old pictures and I adopt them. You know, you find them at an estate sale in a garage, like an antique store. And you think, well, that looks like a cool person. That's going to be a new honorary relative of mine, because I don't have many relatives. To the most wonderful person I know, love, Linda Nesorick. She was a senior in 1965. So I put it here, and Linda becomes a member of my family. Well, I've been moving stuff around in here. I got to get back to work. I'll have an amazing show where I really show off how this room has progressed. Soon, I can almost walk around now without risking breaking my neck. Now an ankle, that's still possible. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I've got a bunch of weekly world news that I gotta put in. I got these storage containers at Big Lots. Gotta start filing these away. Oh, this is always one of my favorite covers. Look at the Beach Party Terror. It's they got like the Cyclops in Seventh Voyage, and they put the creature from the Black Lagoon's head on him. Sometimes things are good enough to frame. The next Great Depression to strike June 6, 2006. Well, they almost got that right. I think 2008 is when we had a recession. Time travel dog from future held captive. So maybe these, my wife thinks, has heard that there are these people like fighting, like Doctor Strange, over the timeline. And so, like last night, the way the timeline was shaping up is Kamala Harris was already president. So weird. It's weird. Sometimes you ask Siri questions like the other day, people were asking Siri, how old is the president of the United States? And would it be 74 or 77? Because, you know, Biden's 77 and Trump's 74. Technically, obviously, Trump is still president. People don't really quite understand how our government works, but frozen Civil War statues come alive. Imagine if they'd come alive when they're trying to tear them down last summer. Here's a record, a Golden Records record called Songs About Heroes, and it was my older brothers when they were little kids in the 50s, and it was handed down to me. And it has this song, Superman. It has the theme for Zorro, Lone Ranger, Yancey Derringer, what else? Casey Jones. There's some religious ones too, like Daniel in the Lion's Den, Samson. That's a great song. What this is it's Mitch Miller's band, and then they've got the Sandpipers are the actual singers. And they did a lot of those golden records, you know, the kids' records, golden records. Yeah, I grew up listening to this Superman song. I don't think many people are even aware of it. But to me, it's just like one of those songs that I've known since I was a kid. Yeah. Oh, this is the band, Kim Lynn's and the Jaguars. We were at my wife had just had surgery. We stopped at this local coffee shop and we met this guy over here on the right, and became kind of a good friend. We haven't heard from him in a while. I think he may not like us anymore because we were supporting Trump. Who knows? Hopefully. I think a lot of people, man, I don't stop being friends with people based on who they vote for. Some people do. But if someone like gives shit to me or my wife, like an old friend of mine that I'd known for years was when Alex Jones was shut down, was not allowed to be on YouTube or Facebook. They tried to deplatform him completely. My wife was arguing about that on Facebook, and one of my old friends was like arguing with her, well, it's a private company, they can do whatever they want. And it's like, well, that electric company, maybe it's a private company, but where it used to be, but what if they just shut your electricity off because they don't like how you think? And he just continued to insult her. Look what I found. I didn't even know that in this pile of Weekly World News, a copy of Little Monsters and the Master of Kung Fu fighting the Man-Thing. I need to really bag and board that one newly. Picture of Ron Cobb. Damn, what else is in this? Oh, it's a gambler's crying towel. It's a little gag gift. So, you know, something you could buy in Las Vegas. Or I need to hang that up someday. Found this amazing Victorian house in Mississippi this morning, and I thought, man, it's $215,000 and it's 5,000 square feet, and it's like one of those houses I just showed you in that Charles Adams book, and it's like it's got 10 acres and it's $215,000. And then we look up the crime, and it's like, this is one of the most unsafe areas of it, based on its size in the United States. There's a 1 in 32 chance that you will be killed horribly if you move to this. You can look up any town and get Area Vibes or Neighborhood Scout. Is it Neighborhood Scout? Anyway, you look up to see, and you know, there's this one area in Virginia that has like zero crime. Like zero crime. They have one police officer. That's where I really want to move to. I mean, zero crime. And I talked to someone that lived there. So, well, that's not entirely true. We did have a teenager stole a car a couple of years ago, and of course it was recovered. It's basically something that would happen in Father Knows Best or Leave It to Beaver. You know, you just stole it to joyride and didn't damage the car. So, but then I did see that there was a murder at a convenience store there 6 months ago, but it's probably someone from out of town. I don't know. It's just scary, you know. I want to get away from crime, and especially with the uncertain times that are coming in the next few weeks, months, years. Well, I'm going to get back to work in this room, and I will embarrass myself further soon. Take care, ladies and gentlemen.